Simon Cowell couldn't breathe when twins asked, "Why did you make our sister stop singing forever?" The question hit Simon Cowell like a punch to the chest. 8-year-old twins Emma and Ethan stood hand in hand on the Britain's Got Talent stage, their innocent faces turned up toward the judges' panel, waiting for an answer that would never come. "Why did you make our sister stop singing forever?" They had asked in perfect unison, their voices carrying a weight that no child should ever have to bear. Simon's breath caught in his throat, his famous composure shattered, and for the first time in his career, the most powerful man in entertainment couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but stare at the two children who had just exposed his darkest secret. But to understand why those 11 words brought Simon Cowell to his knees, we need to go back to where this nightmare began, 3 years earlier, with a teenage girl named Sophie Martinez. It was a warm September evening at the London Palladium, and Britain's Got Talent was holding auditions for what should have been another routine season. The atmosphere was electric with the usual mix of hope and desperation that characterized BGT auditions. Simon sat in his familiar position, that calculating expression already in place, ready for another day of sorting genuine talent from delusional dreams. The day had been typical, a parade of wannabe singers, dancers, and novelty acts that ranged from impressive to utterly bizarre. Simon had delivered his trademark critiques with surgical precision, building his reputation as the judge who told the brutal truth that others wouldn't dare speak. "Next up," announced the production coordinator, "we have Sophie Martinez, age 16, from Birmingham. She'll be singing an original song." Simon glanced up with mild interest. Teenage girls with original songs were common, but occasionally one would surprise him. He settled back in his chair, prepared for 3 minutes of overwrought emotion and amateur lyrics. But when Sophie Martinez walked onto that stage, something was different. She was tall for her age, with long dark hair and eyes that held a determination beyond her years. More importantly, she moved with the confidence of someone who genuinely believed in their talent. Behind her walked 2 small children, a boy and a girl, who couldn't have been more than 5 years old. "Hello there," Simon said, his tone taking on the slightly warmer register he used for younger contestants. "And who are these little ones?" "These are my baby brother and sister," Sophie replied, her voice clear and strong. "Emma and Ethan. They're twins, and they're 8 years old now. They wanted to come watch me audition." 8 years old, Simon repeated, smiling at the twins who were peeking out from behind their older sister. "And what do you think about your sister's singing?" Emma stepped forward boldly. "Sophie has the most beautiful voice in the whole world. She sings us to sleep every night. She's going to be famous," Ethan added with the certainty only children possess. Simon's smile was genuine. The family dynamic was sweet, and Sophie clearly adored her younger siblings. "Well then, let's hear this beautiful voice. What are you going to sing for us today, Sophie?" "I wrote a song called Dreams Don't Die," Sophie replied. "It's about never giving up on what you love, no matter who tells you it's impossible." The music began, a simple piano arrangement that immediately showcased Sophie's voice. And what a voice it was, pure, powerful, with the kind of emotional depth that typically took years to develop. Sophie sang about perseverance, about holding on to hope when the world seemed stacked against you, about the power of believing in yourself, even when no one else did. But Simon wasn't hearing the music, he was calculating. 16-year-old with genuine talent, good backstory with the cute siblings, original material that was actually decent. She had potential, but she wasn't polished enough. Not yet. Maybe in a few years, with proper training and better songs, she could be something special. When Sophie finished, the audience erupted in applause. Amanda Holden was visibly moved. Alicia Dixon was nodding approvingly. David Walliams was already reaching for his buzzer. But Simon had made his decision. "Sophie," he said, his voice taking on that clinical tone that had crushed thousands of dreams, "you have a nice voice, but nice isn't enough for this competition. Your song was amateur, your stage presence needs work, and honestly, you're just not ready for this level of competition." Sophie's face fell, but she maintained her composure. "I understand, Mr. Cowell. Thank you for the opportunity. My advice," Simon continued, his words carrying the authority that had made him famous. "Give up the singing dream. You're young, you're smart, focus on your education, find a stable career. Music is a fantasy that destroys more lives than it creates." That's when Emma stepped forward, her 8-year-old face filled with confusion and anger. "You're wrong," she said, her small voice carrying clearly through the studio microphones. "Sophie is amazing. You just don't know good music." Simon's expression hardened. He didn't appreciate being challenged by a child. "Little girl, your sister is talented, but talent isn't enough. The music industry is brutal, and she doesn't have what it takes to survive it. Ethan joined his twin sister. Sophie does too have what it takes. She's the best singer ever. Children, Simon said with finality. Your sister asked for my professional opinion, and I gave it to her. She should listen to someone who knows this business. What Simon didn't see was the devastation in Sophie's eyes, or how her hands shook as she led her younger siblings off the stage. He didn't notice how Emma and Ethan kept looking back at him with expressions that mixed hurt with hatred. The family left the studio that day carrying more than just rejection. They carried the weight of Simon's words that would prove prophetic in the most tragic way possible. Sophie Martinez returned to Birmingham, crushed. Her family later revealed that she stopped singing entirely after the audition. The girl who had sung her siblings to sleep every night fell silent. She withdrew from school music programs, deleted her social media accounts where she'd posted covers, and refused to even hum around the house. Her parents tried to encourage her, but Sophie would just repeat Simon's words. Give up the singing dream. Music destroys more lives than it creates. 3 months after her BGT audition, Sophie Martinez was diagnosed with severe depression. 6 months later, she was hospitalized after a suicide attempt. Her parents tried everything: therapy, medication, support groups. But Sophie had lost something essential when Simon crushed her dream. Emma and Ethan watched their beloved older sister fade away before their eyes. The girl who had been their protector, their entertainer, their hero, became a shadow of herself. 2 years after her BGT audition, Sophie Martinez took her own life. The suicide note she left behind contained just one line: Simon Cowell was right. I should have given up the dream before it destroyed me. The twins, now 10 years old, had lost the most important person in their world, and they knew exactly who was responsible. Which brings us back to that moment on the BGT stage, 3 years later, when Emma and Ethan Martinez walked onto the platform where their sister's dreams had died. We're here to ask Simon Cowell a question, Emma had announced when the audition began. Just one question, Ethan had added. The judges had been charmed by the articulate twins, assuming this was some sort of cute presentation, or maybe a tribute to their sister. Even Simon had smiled, remembering the 2 children who had defended their sister years earlier. But when they asked their question, why did you make our sister stop singing forever? The studio fell into absolute silence. Simon's face went white. He tried to speak, but no words came. His breath became shallow, then stopped entirely. For several seconds, the most feared judge in entertainment sat frozen, unable to process what was happening. Mr. Cowell? Emma pressed, her voice still innocent, but carrying an edge that cut like glass. We asked you a question. Sophie used to sing to us every night, Ethan continued. But after you told her to give up, she never sang again. Not once. Not even happy birthday songs. Simon's chest felt tight. The studio cameras captured every second of his breakdown. But all he could see were these 2 children, older now, but still recognizably the same kids who had defended their sister with such fierce loyalty. She, your sister. Simon struggled to form words, his usual eloquence completely gone. Our sister is dead, Mr. Cowell, Emma said with the devastating directness that only children possess. She killed herself because you told her music destroys lives. So we want to know, why did you make her stop singing forever? The silence that followed was unlike anything in BGT history. Amanda Holden was crying openly. Alesha Dixon had her hands over her mouth. David Williams looked like he was going to be sick, but the twins weren't done. Sophie wrote in her note that you were right, Ethan said. She said she should have given up the dream before it destroyed her. So congratulations, Mr. Cowell. You were right. Simon Cowell, the man who had built an empire on harsh truths and brutal honesty, finally found his voice. But when he spoke, it was barely a whisper. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Emma tilted her head, studying him with those 2 wise eyes. Are you sorry Sophie's dead? Or are you sorry we came here to tell everyone what you did? It was a question Simon couldn't answer because he didn't know the truth himself. The audition never aired. The footage was buried so deep in BGT's archives that most people forgot it ever happened. But the twins' message had been delivered. Simon Cowell learned that day that his words had power beyond entertainment, beyond television, beyond the boundaries of the stage. They had the power to end lives. He also learned that some accusations are so devastating, so perfectly aimed, that they can stop your breath, stop your heart, and stop your world with just 11 simple words from 2 children who missed their sister. The twins never returned to television. They didn't need to. They had accomplished what they came to do: make Simon Cowell understand the true cost of his cruelty. And somewhere in Birmingham, there's a gravestone that reads, Sophie Martinez. She had the most beautiful voice in the whole world. Emma and Ethan visit it every week, and sometimes, just sometimes, they sing the songs their sister used to sing to them. The songs she stopped singing forever, because Simon Cowell told her to give up the dream.